everyone. Welcome to The Return with Josh and Maria Cribbs. I'm Maria Cribbs.
And I am Josh Cribbs. Welcome to The Return.
I almost didn't make it today, y'all. I'm telling you right now, that weather outside is frightful.
Are you about to start singing the song? The weather outside
It
is
is.
frightful.
Hold on, how many days till Christmas? How many days till Christmas? Like 15 days?
I used to know when
I can't do math.
I can't either.
When we
I'm
were
gonna add
getting
3.
presents.
10.
We would've knew.
16.
16 days.
16, I think.
16.
16 plus.
Something around
No.
that.
It's the 10th. 15.
Today the
15
10th.
days.
We're recording on the 10th, so 15 days.
15 days
Yeah.
until Christmas, you guys. And I would say the weather has... It's just
up
too
and
gloomy
down.
outside. I've been tired the last 2 days. Have y'all been feeling it? It's just been so foggy and gloomy.
Man,
It's rainy.
you talking to Cleveland. Everybody
weather,
used to the weather by now.
Ryan, does the weather make you tired? The
Makes
last
me
2 days.
super, super sad and depressed.
See? Oh, not the Browns.
I
the
think
weather.
it's because of the season.
Well, both,
Okay.
but when you
If
add
we
them
had
on
been
top, it like
winning-
adds. Yeah, so I'm
If
just
we-
super sad right
At
now.
our-
we were
at
having
our
a
home
great
team.
season.
Yeah.
I think it could be a blizzard outside.
I
You will
haven't
see
smiled in
all
weeks.
colors, all orange and brown out there with orange and brown scarves and
Well, if you're becoming a
raincoats.
sleepyhead like me when the weather gets gloomy like this, I want to let you know that Jamie Foxx, his new Netflix comedy special, we missed it, Josh. It aired. It last night. It dropped
Really?
at midnight.
Okay, so we got something to watch
I
tonight.
seen this tweet right there. So I was like, anybody thinking about like Netflixing and chilling because it is gloomy here, you got something to watch. And I love comedy, so I had to shout that out too.
Okay.
Question, Josh and Ryan. How many attempts did it take for you to get your driver's license? And even think about the
license or the
testing.
learners?
Did you pass on the first go?
Yes.
I did too. Oh my God.
No.
That's a no.
This guy.
What are we
This
talking
guy.
about? Again, y'all have to do different things than I had to do in D.C.
You know what?
I didn't have to do what y'all
Ryan.
had to do here.
And that's why in D.C. they drive around like they playing bumper cars because they didn't have to do no in-car, no
Nah,
driver's
none of
ed,
that.
nothing.
Wow.
They just
None
get,
of that.
So you just go and get your license at
It's a-
16?
Yeah, 3-month process to get our license.
You didn't have to do
Pass or
in-car.
fail. Nope.
You didn't have to drive with an instructor
Nope.
for X amount
We
of
just
hours.
show up and take a driving test. And we
How
pass
is
or
that
fail.
legal?
That's what
We
what you
show
mean,
up-
like an in-car test?
Let me tell you this.
Okay, please
I
tell us.
drove.
I mean, that explains a lot.
I drove.
Like, not to Josh, but how many bad drivers there are.
Exactly.
I drove to take my license test.
That's illegal.
I parked up the street. They said you can't do it if you're young, like, renewals, they'll let you do it, but you can't drive. But I drove because I was driving. My father was a police officer. He's a police officer in D.C. So I would drive to school and I would drop them at work and I'd be driving the car
Hey,
around.
cut all this
If
out.
I got
Y'all
stopped-
didn't hear this.
If I got stopped by the police,
He's
like, man,
playing around.
my pop's 3D, man. I'm Chris, my father.
You're so funny, Josh.
Man, listen here. He retired, so what
That
y'all
didn't
gonna
happen.
do? He
Didn't
been
happen.
retired since 2000. Yeah. So
no,
anyway,
I don't think his parents
with
would allow
honors.
that. I don't think it happened. Josh likes to. He's a Gemini. He's fabricated stories. So did you take a written test or you had to do a driving
Nothing.
test?
I took a driver's test. I had to take a driver's test, and once I passed, I think I just parked. The only problem was I parked a little far from the curb.
Did you have to do the maneuverability part, like the cones?
Nope.
What do you mean, no?
I had to park.
What do
I
you
had to-
mean?
Parallel park was the
Did you just-
maneuverability.
Did you just step in it,
Why?
put in
Parallel
drive?
park.
They're like, oh, good job. Here's your
You
license.
got it to the car.
Yes.
Good job.
Oh, you put your seatbelt
All
on.
we had to do was drive around the block
That's
You don't hear that?
absurd.
and parallel park.
That's like the final step
And
for
that's
us
out.
in Ohio getting our license.
You know why? Because there's so many. They have one DMV in DC for the whole city.
Oh yeah, it's like
and
a
they
process.
get you in and get you out. Like, you either can drive. I tell you this though, the instructors were less lenient, were more strict. You either did it or you don't. You either impressed them and let them know you can drive, or you had to do it again or you failed.
Should have been a matter of fact. I drove here.
I passed. I got my dad went to. He was standing out there.
What did
in
he
his
go
uniform.
for? You claim you've been driving him to
'Cause he
work
was
since you were
standing out there in
12.
his uniform.
Oh.
I think I actually failed. 'Cause-
See now there you go,
Yeah.
Ryan.
and
There
it
you
was
go.
just the
Let him talk
parallel
long
park,
enough.
the parallel parking.
But
But I've been driving for, my pops, I was driving. He had me on the road. And
no,
he
he did not.
listen, I
Josh
know you
is
trying to
joking.
protect him,
Is
but
there a statute of limitations?
no. They can go back and get Pops. I'd be like, Pops, man, I ain't mean it. I was just playing.
Well, I'm just saying all this to say that our son Izzy, he got his temps today. So, and this is what
God
happened.
help us all.
I took him on Saturday, right? And he's like, I want to go. I was like, you want to go take a test today? He was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. I'm like, have you studied? No, I don't need to study.
Didn't study at
So
all.
then
I
he
was
walked
like,
in
what?
there. We went down.
It's Ohio.
Shout out to the Parma BMV. Went in
It's
there.
Ohio, man. You got to
failed,
study for that.
Straight failed, right? And I said, you didn't even study. So then he went back. He got like a 24-hour or 42-hour grace
Yeah.
period. So he went back today, didn't study again, and he passed. So
He was asking me some questions. He was like, which way do you turn if your back tire skid out. I'm like, what are we, Tokyo drifting?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you start praying at
He's
that
like,
point.
If I drink some alcohol,
Like, what
how
you
long
mean?
until I drive? I'm like, that question's on there?
Like,
it
you
was
drink
crazy.
some alcohol, that's a
Right.
trick question. You drink alcohol, you're done. You ain't driving nowhere, son.
Well, somewhere he might be able to drive to is the new stadium. What you got to talk about, Josh? You said something about the
Yes. So let me read what the article is.
Uh-oh.
Cleveland Browns.
You need your readers?
mixed- No, I don't need my readers for this. You funny. The development in Brook Park is supposed to generate $1.2 billion annually and create 3,300 jobs.
Ooh.
What do we all think about this distraction that comes in this part of the season when our Browns are doing horribly wrong? But look, the renderings are good. That looks like I might get a place over there if they start having apartments. That area looks like Crocker
Ooh, that
Park
would
or
be
something like
nice.
that.
Right.
But it is a mecca. I think that area would do well here in Cleveland because look, they're going to have hotels there, which probably going to feature the players and their own little town. And
The players are definitely not going to stay right by the stadium. We know that. But, I mean, that sounds good what you just read. But how many jobs are going to be taken away from the city that they're leaving?
I think
Mhm.
that the Haslams are making it a priority to make sure that the stadium employees and the people who are losing their jobs at the stadium, if they do, will have first dibs on a lot of the opportunities for employment in the complex area.
I
Now,
understand
don't
that,
quote
but
me
some of
on
them
that.
can't-
It
some of them don't have
sounded
to jump the
good,
ride
though,
to get
didn't it?
down there. Yeah,
Didn't it sound
that sound
good?
real good.
Yeah, it sounded
How much they
good.
paying you, Josh?
Yeah, I know, right?
No, but
I got
I
a
mean,
little
the
something
space
on the
does
side.
look amazing. I mean, it does look amazing. I know.
Yeah,
What?
it looks like the Browns. I don't know which Browns team would play in that, because it's a couple years off.
Yeah,
But however,
it's gonna be a lot of changes.
I
maybe
think
for-
it couldn't. I think the timing is off for me. I think it's a distraction.
Have
I
they
think it's a
solidified
distraction.
anything yet, Ryan?
Yeah, they're going to do
It's
it.
a done deal.
It's a done deal.
I don't know if it's written in stone, but I mean, the way things are moving, I don't see any scenario how it couldn't happen. So I'm thinking that's going to open up. I believe they're probably thinking 2029. Like 3-4 years of construction. Because I mean, it's going to take a half a year, just let alone to get the contracts moved, to figure out every single thing you're going to do. Like that in its own is going to take a year. So
our
then
team is
once
gonna
you
look
actually start
completely
getting,
different.
you start getting the groundwork actually built. I mean, that's going to be another 3 years.
Yeah, a lot of players that are currently on the team aren't even going to step foot on that field.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it looks beautiful though. And I
But we
think-
got a special guest.
Oh, we do
in
have
the
a
house.
special guest coming up, talking all things Brown. So you look at you teasing them.
Hey, I'm doing it.
You got to find out who it is after this commercial. Don't go anywhere. All right, now, folks, welcome back to The Return with Josh and Maria Cribbs. And we have a special guest coming on the show right now. Josh, you wanna do the-
Absolutely.
Go ahead and intro him, Josh.
Friend of the show, Chef Zay. Welcome back. He is a world-renowned Browns
Period.
enthusiastic extraordinaire. I think he's everything.
Yeah.
Chef Zay, welcome to the show.
Welcome back.
I've been looking at your videos, the state of the Browns and everywhere and every thing that's going on with the team. It's breaking news that's happening all day today. Let's just start at square one. Talk about how what's your rendition of how the season is going now and how is it hitting you? Like, how do you feel right now?
Man, it feels like Browns is the Browns. Sad to say it, man. It feels like 4-12. Every other 4-12 season I've ever experienced, there's a stat out there that I heard that I cannot believe it. We've had 18 10-loss seasons since 99.
Wow.
The only other team to have some kind of, I think it was the Jets. They haven't won a playoff game, or they haven't had something in a little bit longer than us. But can you imagine, how do you know how that feels to be a fan? I mean, it sucks. So that's how I feel right now. I'm ready for 2024 to be over. I want 2023 back so bad. So, I don't know. Get me to 2025, please.
I mean, that's how we feel. I don't want to say it, and I didn't want to ever say it. Ryan, Maria, the statement that who was the chief defended us when the linebacker from
it was Micah Parsons.
Micah
He said
Parsons.
Cleveland's Cleveland.
Cleveland is Cleveland. The Browns is the Browns.
I thought
and
that was Jamar Chase.
Both of them.
I was gonna say, okay,
and
okay.
it's kind of like a thing around the league where in which I feel like we had graduated from under Coach Stefanski, and it's a reason why we kind of liked him so much as opposed to as it related to all the other coaches. Statistically, he's done pretty well as it relates to other coaches, but that's kind of been the theme, like that we have taken several steps back, and it's like, how can we go back so far? I can see if it was 9 and 8 and something. 8 and 9, but it seems like we're going to have another 4 and 13, 4 and 12 type season. Browns is the Browns. A step back. Ryan and Maria and Chef Zay. Chef Zay, Kadarius Toney just was released not too long ago, and I'm starting off. I feel like he was insignificant to the game as opposed to a big portion of the game. And what are your thoughts on his release? But also, I think because we lost, everyone thinks it's trying to make it seem like, oh man, you missed the catch, you fumbled, and you got the penalty. When I look at the game, I looked at it back. I always watch the game, the TV copy, and he just was insignificant.
Was it the one at the end of the game?
Yeah, the muff punt.
They already
you
lost.
said something.
I already said the game was already over. He ain't. He can't be so hard on himself.
I was heading down to do post game. Mm-hmm. Maria was like, "Oh man, tell him he ain't even mad. Don't even be down on himself, man. Nobody
was already lost the game. They already lost.
Right? Because even every little thing matters.
You think he got cut for that though?
No, he got cut for a plethora of reasons. That probably was a majority of it, but that didn't matter. That was the wrong person we should have saw pop up on our screen that said they got cut, because the guy who cost us 6 points in the tie ball game is still under contract. Wait, we can't cut him. We just gave him $16 million guaranteed. That's what everybody's saying, right? It's just been a bunch of bad business decision after bad business decision after bad business decision. And I don't know who's responsible for that. If it's strictly Andrew Berry, if it's Paul Podesta, if it's Jimmy Haslam, Kevin Stefanski, whoever you want to blame, I really don't care at this point. You got to figure it out, and you got to figure it out soon. I was telling you off air a little bit. I think these next 4 years is going to be, listen to me, it's all business. Don't expect they're going to feed us all this stuff until I see otherwise. I can't buy into it because I know what's on the horizon. Brook Park.
Right. And we're going to get into that a little later. But you mentioned somebody, and you ain't say his name, Dustin Hopkins. Dustin.
I'm sorry. Might as well be Justin.
Might as well. Dustin Hopkins. Man. I want to ask, the studio real quick, Chef Zay and Ryan and Maria, he missed 2 field goals. And it was important at an important time where we lost momentum for our offense after battling down the field, not being able to go in and score, and missing 3 points. And then doing it again, not tying it up 13. It was 6-13 going into half. We could have had a tie ball game. Could have mattered for our defense. Ryan, do you think it's time to move on from Dustin Hopkins?
I will. It's very possible that you're going to have to. You're not going to have a choice. I mean, you can't really cut him, as Chef Zay said. You gave him the guaranteed money, which is why you never guarantee money to a kicker, because of how fickle they are, right? I mean, look at the Lions. They get a kicker from the UFL. Jake Bates, he's been amazing. Cowboys got Brandon Aubrey. He's been now the superstar. Justin Tucker fell off. Like, it's such a year-to-year position, and unfortunately what we find a lot of times in kickers is the only way, if they get this down bad, a lot of times it takes a change of scenery to get right again, right? We saw that with Dustin Hopkins coming from the Chargers. Now, you can't get rid of him, and it makes no point to make a move at this point in the season because it's lost. What you do is you try to get him out there and the season with some confidence, kicks and 50-yarders, and then you go into next year and see what you can do with him. Can't get rid of him right now, and there's no point in doing so.
And we only hear about the kickers when they're doing something wrong.
Well, you hear about him when he he on track, because remember we suffered from kicker issues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Dustin was I won't want to call him savior, but he was our fix.
He was the best kicker in the league last year.
Exactly.
No
so
doubt.
Knowing all of that and what what these guys just said in studio, Chef Zay, do you still feel like we should get rid of him? Because I feel like he has a case of the yips, just kind of like what Ryan was saying. Like, they get in their head, and once they do, the only thing that seems like they can fix them is a change of scenery. But it seems like every time a person leaves the Browns and they have a change of scenery, they're fixed. The yips is gone.
I feel like we giving people a pass. A pass. I mean, we didn't Phil Dawson, or is it that we're holding them as us watching?
Here's my thing with it all. It just feel when do we become a moral victory league? This has always been a results based league, has
Right.
it not, Josh?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to understand is this thing. Like everyone wants to go ahead and give Kevin Stefanski this credit because he's 2-time coach of the year,
Right.
and everyone wants to give credit to Dustin Hopkins because he did all these things here. Yeah, you did that last year, but we're talking about right now,
Right.
and what the expectation was set for this year. You telling me at the beginning of the year, if I would have told you we would be 3-10 right now, Dustin Hopkins is turned into the worst kicker in the league, and they still have jobs, what would you say to that?
You
You'd
know
be
what?
like, no, Kevin Stefanski's probably fired because there's no way you're 3-10 right now.
So right now you're making us aware of what have you done for me lately. I had scored my first touchdown my rookie year against the Lions, a return touchdown. And I was walking through the hall at one point during the week, like maybe 3 weeks after. And I'm never going to forget Maurice Carthon, the offensive coordinator at the time, looked at me and was like, "You think you safe? You think you're going to still have a spot on this team?" Like, man, you better score another one. And then another one after that if you plan to stay around here. One ain't going to do it. And from that moment on, it was like, what have you done for me lately? And that's kind of the rhythm. That's the atmosphere.
It's funny because he got fired before you got.
Yeah, he did. I kept
He
scoring.
shouldn't be giving himself that pep talk.
I
kept scoring.
I kept
Yeah,
scoring.
yeah.
But that feels like where we are with Dustin Hopkins, because I want us to separate us from the fandom and how we emotionally feel. You make a great point, Chef Zay, when you say he was turned into the worst kicker this year. But we know that he has more in him. We know that how tough it is to find a guy who could just kick it through the uprights, right? We don't need a 63-yard. We don't need a Justin Tucker in his prime. We just need a guy who could do the regular, 35-yard, 40, a 50 here and there. We just need a guy, right? But I think the problem with, not just the guaranteed money that Ryan was talking about, but more so, he'll end up being a guy again for someone else, just like he was for us for 1 year when he came for the Chargers. And I think losing him, now we're on a hunt for more than, we need a lot of pieces to the puzzle, to fix this ship. And it may cost guys jobs all the way, not just the head coach, but GM too, because this is, you're digging more holes for yourself at this point in the season. So, okay. Moving on from Dustin Hopkins, because, the 6 points that he missed that could have kept us in the game. How do you think, Jameis Winston, let's move on to him, his play against the Steelers? How would you summarize his play?
I think this past week was actually the first time that I saw Jameis Winston get deep into his own mind. Like, we've seen Jameis Winston throw interceptions before, and he kind of come back out and still sling it. Once he threw that first interception, that man was seeing everything, including the ghost. Like, he was not trying to make a mistake. He was trying to avoid it as much as possible. And we don't need that Jameis. If we get that Jameis moving forward, I think you can go ahead and find somebody else to replace it. But if you get the mentality of Jameis that we got, where he's averaging 350 and he's slinging it, and what comes with the territory, I think that's the Jameis that we can rock with. It's a very, very sticky situation because everybody's going to look to the draft and be like, I want Cam Ward. And quite frankly, we have way too many holes, and we don't have the one thing that we've had a staple of for the past decade, which is an offensive line. We've somehow forgotten how to run the ball. It makes no sense to me. So I'm in the camp of get your bridge, whether it be Jameis or you go in the free agent, which there's not a lot out there this year. And get you some assets. Trade down. It's the perfect. We do it every other year. We want to get a guy that we really like. Trade down. Get you another first round pick next year. And let's go ahead and
see.
Look
That's the
Brook Park.
That's the problem. You made a good point. Ryan, is not a lot out there when we look at free agents. And you said Cam Ward. I just don't think he's an answer. Because I think he'll go too high for us. He'll be too high of a pick that it'll be kind of like making that pick come up a little sooner than he need. I don't think a pick needs to play right away. The transition guy needs to sit a few years, in my opinion. 2 years minimum, in my opinion, because I don't think it's a right away fix. A quarterback, we fell in that trap a lot. We
30
fell,
times?
yes. You got a jersey that'll prove it to you. Of all the quarterbacks that
I
we
got
had.
a Charlie Fry jersey right here. I can go get that for
There
you.
you
Most
go.
Most of you people probably don't know who Charlie Fry is.
And we talked about it, Chef Zay, how we had the fry guys used to dress up like French fries and be on a 50-yard line and go to every game. And then behind him was more, but before him was more too. So, I don't like digging into the draft to try to find the guy. But as it relates to Jameis Winston, I think he did get in his head a little bit because he prayed for being delivered from pick sixes. And last week he was delivered. And it was mostly because he was running. He had to chase the guy down and tackle him. And I think he got in his head a little bit. And Ryan, you talked about it last week. And I talked about the differences in him throwing picks as opposed to how much he's helped us. But we need him to continue to be that gunslinger and kind of work out the kinks as we go. Instead of, like Chef Zay was alluding to, getting a little rattled within himself to say, God, I threw another pick. I hurt my team. Instead, I think the knowledge or the motivation has to come from within. Chef Zay, Ryan, Maria, like his teammates have to say, man, keep throwing.
Isn't that what the QB?
We got you.
Okay, so what's the QB coach?
No, that's what the coach is for.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm saying the same thing, Chef
Man,
Zay.
these coaches
you got
ain't
to
gonna
tell them,
motivate them.
even because we used to coach our kids' baseball team. We got to tell them when the pitchers start, wilding a little bit. Okay, settle in. You got to settle in. Sometimes you got to come back to that space where you can perform. Because if you get stuck in your own head, it's over.
It'll matter
you're throwing
more.
a pick six, interception.
You're right.
Overthrowing people, underthrowing people, because you're in your own head.
You're right.
Yeah.
But for me, as a player.
But you're different. You're
But
different.
hold on. I think it'll matter for Jameis Winston if those receivers and his teammates kind of look at him. Hey, keep throwing it. We got you. Somebody on the defense.
But you know what sucks about that, Josh, is the fact that we've never had that on this team. You know why it worked so well last year? Because Joe Flacco did exactly what you were saying. Joe Flacco threw an interception and was like, hey, guys, that's on me. Go get me it back, and I'll make up for it. We've seen how many countless times. I called it so many times of the Joe Flacco to Amari Cooper connection. Amari Cooper drops a pass, incomplete pass. The very next play, what do vets do? Oh, I'm going to get you back. Go back to him, makes the catch, move forward. We do the one thing this team missed out this entire year, which we thought we had it in Kevin Stefanski, was leadership.
Right.
And we didn't get it from the quarterback, which is the biggest thing.
Right. I think we did. I think Jameis tried. I think Jameis is a great leader. It's just not the wins
For sure.
and the success to back it up. So that his leadership loses a little validity when he doesn't have the success on the field to go with it. That's the problem. But Chef Zay, stick around. We got more Browns coming up next. We're going to take a commercial break.
All right, welcome back to The Return. Now, we are still here with Josh and Chef Zay and, of course, Ryan. Still talking about the Browns.
Definitely. I want to move forward because Deshaun Watson was making a viral moment, on vacation.
I think he did on purpose. Was that intentional?
I don't think so. Did he even get in the screen?
Off like that. I don't think he
Hold on, was he even in the screen?
I think
there's other pictures of him in the screen where there's boot on and he's doing the mirror selfie thing.
So is he not?
He's injured. What can he do?
Okay. So Chef Zay, tell us your thoughts on it, and then we'll kind of go around and give our thoughts on it. What do you think about everybody kind of up in arms of where Deshaun is now and his video that he put out? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are this is exactly what we've been experiencing the entire year. The fan base just wants to be divided at this point. I don't think anybody cares about what's going on. I think they care about being right. Because who cares what this man is doing? Like, honestly, I'm so far gone from this experiment. I couldn't care less what he does. But when I woke up and I scrolled through Twitter and I scrolled through everything and every other post was this, I'm like, what are we bickering about right now? Now, is it a good look optically? Absolutely not. The thing that I take from it, if I'm a player, I ask you this. If you're in the locker room, right, and this guy is getting X amount of dollars, and more than likely when you're in the locker room, you don't really care about that. But the guy that's supposed to be leading you and helping you win games did not do that for you whatsoever. And then you see the shift go from Deshaun Watson to Jameis Winston, and all of a sudden our offensive line can block again. All of a sudden we can pass the ball. Receivers aren't dropping passes. It seems as if maybe they didn't really want to play for him like that way. And then you get knocked out of the playoffs by the team who's embarrassed you.
You preaching in here. You got Ryan in here smiling. He feels
tickled.
exactly how you feel.
I'm just saying, it doesn't look good because you got guys out here who still have 4 more weeks of suffering. They don't need to come see their leader, their brother, out here doing that.
Right.
But as far as me, I don't care.
Okay. And he said 4 more weeks of suffering.
I feel like everybody was on their phone. They just casually scrolling on social media, and they see Deshaun Watson posting himself on an island, and like, oh hell no! I'm out here in this foggy Cleveland weather. You supposed to be, my team is sucking right now, and you out here enjoying your life.
And I think that's how fans feel.
Yeah, that's how they feel.
I don't think players feel like that.
No, I don't
so
think
players
would be doing
who
the
are
same
playing
thing.
right now, they're locked in. We had guys injured all
Josh,
the
come
time.
on, hold on.
Honestly, it's like
get that aspect. Are these
you,
players in this locker room locked in? Be real with me right now. Do you
I
think
wouldn't
they
be
are
locked into this
right
mess.
now?
I'm waiting on the season to be done.
The appearance.
I wouldn't be.
The appearance is that they're not locked in because what's the product does not show it on the field.
Right.
So seems like
they're waiting
they're
for
not
the
locked
season
in.
to be over with.
They are locked in. They have no choice. They're in these meeting rooms. The coaches are coaching them as best as they can. The players are locking in as best they can. I don't think we have certain pieces.
Rephrase that.
Hold on.
The ones that are getting paid, and their jobs are not at risk, I would assume.
I think maybe
not locked in.
It's human emotions for some guys to check out when they're well taken care of.
Yeah, now the ones that are fighting for that roster spot don't know if they're going to return after this season. They're going to be locked in trying to prove themselves because they got filmed. Go ahead.
Here's what I'm saying though. I ran into Eric Metcalf when we had a little conversation.
Metcalf, what are you talking about? What he do?
I know what he said. Go ahead.
We had a little conversation. I asked him. I'm like, so in terms of this business decision stuff, what's that like in the locker room? He's like, you know what that means to me? He's like, the thing to me is I need to go score. I need to go out there, do whatever I can do, and don't get injured. That's the end all be all what these guys are talking about. And Wyatt Teller just had his interview. I think it was either today or yesterday, where he came on and he talked about you got to go out there and put good film. These guys are making individual business decisions. It's not for my brother anymore. It's not for I'm going out here and lay it out on the line for you. And that's what my problem is. That's why I go back to this thing. It's like, optically, this don't look great. This shows the dysfunction throughout the entire locker room that these guys are individually making business decisions across the entire playing field.
All right,
So saying what Eric Metcalf said, though, then how does that ring true to y'all's point where, clearly everybody like playing under Watson because they're catching the ball, they're not doing this. If it's an individual business decision, I have to perform regardless of who's at QB. Why would they not do the same under Watson?
So let me shed some light on that. And let me give you a different perspective, Chef Zay. So just like you said, an individual business decision. It is. It's an individual business, especially on a losing team. That means everybody can get to be on a chopping block. Mm-hmm. So it behooves especially the young guys. But the older guys too. Nobody gonna want you if you're on a losing team and you suck too. Like, who's gonna want you if you're on a losing team? Whether you be a lineman, a DB, a linebacker, anybody.
Well, they say the Browns.
The way you keep the name on your back, the way you make good business decisions, let's say a running back, is you balling out. You stick out like a sore thumb because you're the only one that's out there balling. I could have went on any team. I was on a lot of 4-12 teams, but guess who was out here balling?
Josh Cribbs.
I was killing. I was doing
which is why you're loved, and which is why.
But that is a business decision. To play good.
You grew up in a different era though. Y'all played for something different. Y'all weren't getting 80 million guaranteed for getting.
Definitely,
you know what I mean? Like, it's such a different atmosphere and it's such a different feel to the game now that I get your mental. That's why I say we grew up in the same mentality of era. Yes. So I get from your standpoint, but these young dudes on the team, like, they need to get they don't care for real. Like, I mean, they care, but I'm saying right now, it just feels like everyone has their own agenda. And if you're trying to do something and you say who's gonna want you, here's what I'll say to that. If you were talking about any other team, I would fully 1,000% agree. But when you talk about the Cleveland Browns, you kind of got to talk about it in a different aspect,
right?
Because people took Cam Irvin to the Kansas City Chiefs and he went and won a ring. You took Danny Shelton went to the Patriots and won a ring. TJ, like guys that you wouldn't, Barkevious Mingo won a ring. So guys that you don't that you look at and be like, yeah, that's trash. They go on and win anyway because they came from the Browns organization.
Right.
We have that taint to us.
Let me stop and make a mental note, Maria. So that what he just did, right, was intellectually changing my mind. So when I'm arguing with you and I have a good point, if you can't intellectually beat my good point, you losing that argument in every way. Not an emotional point, but an intellectual point. I get his point because he broke it down. They were on some bad teams. Danny Shelton, Barkevious Mingo. They were on some bad Browns team, but yet they went somewhere else and they got a ring.
And I think also too because they might. I mean, if you go,
so you right.
I think
changed my mind.
Depending on where you're trying to get back on a team, man, they look at you. He was playing with the Browns though. You might get a little leeway.
Well, it's individual.
He was under this coach. And they go to other programs and flourish. I think it is.
Not just that. Another coach will get them and say they didn't do him right. They didn't play him the right way.
That's what I'm saying.
Tomlin would do that. He was like that with Russ.
Look,
they
Joe
didn't coach him the right way.
Joe Hayden went from throwing away garbage to being a Pro Bowler the very next season.
Absolutely.
The very next season.
And for that matter, Baker Mayfield.
Please don't go there.
I won't go there.
Josh.
I won't go there. I'm just saying, I still root for him. But
I'm just telling the fans of Cleveland that are all ticked off about Deshaun Watson being out on a boat somewhere. Y'all know good and goddamn well when y'all call off work, y'all don't be at home just sitting down. Y'all be out trying to do too much.
And I'm gonna throw this out there, man. I
call off work. Y'all be in Target, Walmart, Dunkin', Starbucks.
Going to hate it. I know Ryan is going to hate it. Deshaun, unless they make a decision to change to eat $120 million, unfortunately, he will be our quarterback next year, and we just gonna have to. And that's going something the lunch food that we all got, that they all put down our throats, and we had to just like that pizza that they were getting. That's the best thing that the lunch could offer us in public schools. Like, we just gonna have to eat that lunch pizza.
I don't think
you're gonna have to eat that he's gonna be our quarterback.
Why you gotta say unfortunately opposed to let's figure out how to make this work? If he's going to be our QB,
Maria, no.
everybody come on.
No. Absolutely not.
Oh, he said
Here's
no.
Where, let me change his mind.
I wanted to do that for
Ryan.
Ryan.
Make this thing work. I've been married a long time, Chef Zay. Sometimes you got to figure out how to make something work.
Hold
you can't
on
just
now.
throw in the towel all the time.
Hold on
We're
now.
gonna make this thing work.
You do gotta try to
And
make
you
it
just be
figure
quiet
it
from now
out.
on.
Here's my thing though. There's no mending. It's almost like you're watching the bridge be burnt down and you're standing on the bridge as it's sinking. There is no reviving
Titanic.
Deshaun Watson. When you say you wish you could eat them, they're gonna eat the $172 million. That's set in stone.
It's 172.
It's 172. They owe 172.
That he could get. That's like a quarter of the Brook Park, the Brook Park Stadium. That was the money that Cleveland should have put up, to keep the stadium in Cleveland. But that's probably why they had to leave, because they had to make up for the money that Deshaun Watson
He's
get.
probably trying to hide, make sure nobody don't do nothing to him. That's he a high risk insurance policy. Now wait
He's
a minute,
going to be the best cheerleader on this team. I can guarantee you he won't take a snap unless quarterbacks get injured. He's not going to be our quarterback next year. They are going to eat it the way that they're going to want to eat it, which is, we're going to have this quarterback competition and we're going to bring in our bridge and we're going to have Cam Ward here and we're going to fight it out, and somehow he'll end up deep down on the depth chart, and that's how it's going to go. He will not.
Not if I'm paying him $172 million, you're going to play. I don't care what the fans
y'all.
Say.
I
hear that.
He going to play.
But this city will burn. I promise you.
They already burning. Look at the record.
got you.
They already burned. They ticked off. The man's on vacation somewhere.
If he takes another snap.
Right.
They won't allow it. The PR team, there's a reason why they didn't bring Joe Flacco back. They care about PR nightmares, or they would have brought Joe Flacco back. They know what time it is if they put Deshaun Watson behind center again next year. I can guarantee you that.
Chef Zay has spoken.
Always cooking.
We appreciate you coming to the show, man. Every single time you give us so many things to talk about. I have a lot of people in our DMs after this messaging us.
You already know.
And going in. It's a lot of people that agree with you.
Now, for anyone that's watching that is not following you already, tell our viewers where they can find you and follow you at.
Chef Zay on Google. Just Google me. Everything will pop up. Chef Zay 23, crockpotcle.com. I mean, we stay cooking up. Maybe in the future, Cribs and Crockpot got some cooking up.
There you go.
You guys be on the lookout for that.
Speak it into existence. It's going down.
Let's
it's
do
going to
2020
happen.
because we throwing away 2024. So 2025, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
2024 never happened. It's a Mandela effect.
Yeah, there you go.
A little butterfly effect.
Chef Zay, we appreciate you every time you come on the show. Thank you
so much. And viewers,
Appreciate
will be right
you guys.
back. Don't you go anywhere. Now welcome back to the turn. I'm sorry. No, I love when Chef's Day comes and
Yeah, it was a lot there to unpack.
It is, and you don't realize. I mean, I know I joke around a lot as far as our record and how we just are doing so horrible. But a lot of people get depressed when the Browns lose. It's like their only hope for the week. Like, okay, I know my team. I get to see.
Well,
my
this
team
is Browns town. It's supposed to be like that.
I mean, my mom was like, I had to call off work.
Your mom be texting me.
She do. She gets frazzled.
She texts me like during the game.
Yeah.
Like, see, I told you they not ready. I told you. I'm like.
But she makes it a whole thing. She makes her food. She has her own little private tailgating party. So you do all this preparing, and you hope to seal the deal with a win, and then you lose like that. But you keep losing and taking these L's. I think how the Cavs doing, Ryan?
Cavs are doing wonderful.
Okay,
I mean, they still have the best record in the league as we're recording. I believe 21-4. So I mean, things are looking great for the Cavaliers.
And I think that is our
Cavs fan.
opportunity. The Cavs are our opportunity for the city to have a breath of fresh air. Yeah. To have something and to tell Pittsburgh Steelers, our what about your NBA team? Oh, you don't have one? So
shots fired.
Cavs right now, Cleveland is a better city in my opinion.
Right.
So,
speaking of Cleveland being a better city, one thing that we did not discuss with Chef's Day was the Steelers fans chanting "Cleveland sucks." Any thoughts on that?
That's regular. I think we wanted to discuss with them how some of the comments that some of the players' wives had to deal with, some of the problems that they had to deal. And I wanted to ask you, Maria.
Yeah.
When dealing with opposing players' fans, what was some of the worst teams that you hated, or did you have to deal with any of that as a player's wife?
Of course, and I think it's expected. I know one time all the wives were getting together. We were actually going to the Steelers game that you played in, and they were getting this whole, it was like before group chats were a thing. I think we were like emailing each other or texting or something, and they were basically saying, no one wear any Browns gear. Those fans are crazy. First of all, you're not gonna tell me what to do. I'm going to rep the brown and orange no matter where I go.
To?
Right.
You
so of course I drove separately.
They like for your safety, Maria.
But I'm thinking what's the worst that can happen? And sure enough, I drove down there, I wore my stuff. Me and my girls wore our stuff. The ones that chose to still wear their Browns gear, and it was no problem. Like, of course, I think it was one fan got my face like, oh, you suck. I'm like, you suck too. But it's like, I think it's expected. So for the player's wife, who, and I understand, she probably, you used to sitting in suites or you used to getting treated a certain way when you're on the home team. But when you go to an opposing team, you expect the disrespect.
Yeah,
you expect it's a game, and they're your opponent.
You get your profanity game up.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a level. I don't think they're supposed to be
security game.
I don't think they're supposed to be respectful to you at a football game, unfortunately. Right. I think it's kind of expected. If you want respect, go get you some sweet tickets and go be up there with the folks that they hold their pinkies like this and they not really even cheer. They talking business, they ain't even watching the game.
Right.
Go to that section.
But you know what?
It's expected at a game.
It is expected, and the Raiders for me was one of the worst teams.
Got the worst fans in the world.
I told my parents used to go to games.
Oh my God, the Raiders.
And I used to tell my mom not to go.
Like that.
But you know why? Because
I still went and I still wore my gear. So I'm sorry, Josh.
What I'm telling you is that players will come out the stand. Like, Maria, if I see you going into it with a fan and I know where you at because I put you in that seat, the game don't matter. My wife does. My family does, right? My mom. So that's why I told we would tell y'all not to come to certain games. We're not trying to be distracted from our football.
He ain't never tell me not to come to no game. But I was there.
Because you could take care of yourself.
Brown and orange or whatever team he was.
Maria not scared of nobody. I used to have to be like.
Hold on, wait a minute. You was a Raiders then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was. I was for a little bit.
Cool,
of time,
right?
For a little bit. But Ryan, I wouldn't have to fight Maria's back. When somebody say something to me wrong or do something and I know Maria about to come, I'm like, oh, my wife about to come out.
She ready.
Got my wife
ready.
You got my wife in the ball.
It's crazy how I
have to get out the way.
Pitbull in the skirt, baby.
I have to get out the way.
When your waiter, when they bring the wrong food or it's not cooked enough, is it Maria that sends it back?
Oh my God.
So no. When it comes to food, no.
Maria,
food?
She used to.
Well,
you
I went to McDonald's the other day, and I kept asking the guy for extra tartar sauce and extra cheese.
Our kids used to be like, don't say nothing, Mom. Come on. Nope, because this ain't they supposed to do it like this because you was a waiter. So you was like, nope, she's supposed to bring it like this.
Yeah.
So she would have to go tell them. She was like, nah, I'm going to just go kindly talk to. She ain't going to kindly talk to nobody.
Our food and
I'm like,
extras.
man, come on, man. I can just get
and
what I need.
don't let me drive home and all the way home and find out my order's wrong.
And trying to get it for free. I'm like, come on. You think we would come back here with this service?
So with that being said, Maria has no problem hanging out with the opposing teams in whatever my team's colors is, and we're going to have a great time. They're going to disrespect me. I'm disrespecting them. We're going to have a great time. But I understand the wives feeling disrespected. But
I do understand.
You had a football game. But look, we got to go to commercial. Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back to The Return. Now, we did say in the beginning of the show, Christmas is coming up. I think we don't, 10 days away, right? We confirmed that, Ryan.
Yes.
Christmas is 10 days away. And I just want to know, I don't consider myself the worst gift giver. I think I just get, like y'all said, Jameis Winston, he gets in his head. I get in my head, then I give up, and then I resort to gift cards. So I wanted to ask you guys, is giving gift cards, is that considered an unthoughtful or a lazy gift?
Yes.
I'm asking them. I didn't ask.
I think if you're giving a gift card to somebody who is not in your immediate household, to maybe a friends who you don't really associate with, I think it's perfect. If you're giving gift cards to people you're around every day, who you see and talk to all the time, and you couldn't give something specifically for them,
he's talking about himself.
Shame on you, Grinch.
He's talking about himself.
Don't let Krampus get in your head.
Why gotta be Krampus?
You graduated from the Grinch. I'm sorry.
I'm like, Krampus is a monster.
Yeah, you coming to throw presents away and steal trees and put you in that little glass ball. I think because it's less than 2 weeks. So if you ain't got nothing now for Christmas, if you ain't already ordered some stuff.
Oh God.
Ryan, did you know anybody?
I've done zero shopping.
Me neither.
Zero shopping.
Y'all better get out there because I better have something. I ain't even put no tree up or nothing, but I better have something. You better.
It's because of the Browns. I'm not in the Christmas spirit.
I don't care what
you get
type
the winter
of spirit
blues. Like
you
winter
in.
blues is a real thing. And then the Browns record, and we don't know what QB we gonna have next year. We don't know what we doing in the draft. They let old guy that fumbled at the end of the game.
We talking about Christmas,
I feel
man.
bad. Well, who's the guy that got cut?
Kadarius Toney.
I feel bad for him. It was not his
Honestly,
fault.
Ryan,
Hell no. He should have been cut mid-game. That's ridiculous for him to do that. And then who do you think you are for a taunting penalty? And if you're Kevin Stefanski, I don't know how you let him go back out there. You're 3-10 at that point. You need to prove to your team you're not putting up with any of that crap.
You want him to take the jersey off?
I want him to bench him. Absolutely. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he got put back on that field. I think it's disrespectful to the Browns organization. And honestly, I love Kevin Stefanski, but for his decision to put him back out there, I thought that was pitiful.
Ryan was holding it in the whole show. He was holding it in the whole show.
It was like he recorded it into the speaker and then pressed the button.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Ryan,
yeah.
hey, Ryan said what he said. Now, okay, so
what he said.
I'm gonna tell y'all two men this, and you're my husband. So, but Ryan, if you ever have your lady tell you not to get her anything for Christmas, it's a setup. Get her something for Christmas. This has happened to several of this happened to me one time.
So you're saying I can't trust what they say?
Exactly.
You better
Is
get
that what you're saying?
No.
Is that what you're saying, Maria?
Trust.
You're saying I can't trust them?
Nope.
We did it one year. I was over there salty. Like, he really didn't give me nothing.
Salty as I don't know
was so
what.
sad.
I'm like, good. I'm saving. We good, man.
And then my
bought
friends,
myself something.
Because Josh and I, we got married early, right? So then as our friends started to get married, and they started having, Josh is, he's
had a
he's
great,
a little
had
sassy,
a little Christmas hat on and everything. Like,
so now that our friends are in relationships and they're going through some of the things that we've been through in the past, I'm like, you told him not to get you nothing. No, why are you mad? Because he knew to get me something. So I'm doing a disclaimer to all the fans, the viewers out there. If your significant other says don't get them anything for Christmas,
get them something.
Still get them something, please.
Because I be dang on it. If I don't get nothing for Christmas again, it's gonna be trouble in the Cribs household. We just let it be known.
Let it know now.
The thought that counts.
Okay, it is the thought that counts. So make sure you at least give them a little something. So look at this.
Yeah.
There's this trend. How much time we got, Ryan?
Minute and a half.
Go ahead.
Ryan,
don't do the same thing all the time.
There's this trend going on TikTok right now. It's called the 50-50 trend, where the women are recording a man and they're going up to him saying, babe, you're going to be so upset with this. I'm not going to be able to pay the mortgage this month. And most of the men are like, what?
You don't pay the mortgage anyway.
Right,
That's what I'll be like.
But then you got some sassy men on here talking about 50-50. So look how women feel about the 50-50. She says 50-50 is a roommate, not a relationship. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these?
I agree.
She said, how dare you live alone and not want a roommate? I'd rather be single, paying 100% with my 100%.
You know who you with. You know who you with. You supposed to come together really and build. And y'all use y'all money together You don't have to be 50-50 because if I make more, then I'm paying more.
I ain't paying.
I'm the type of man I wanted to take care of
no
you.
more. Out in the home, I ain't never paid no
Look,
mortgage.
I'm just the man that wanted to take care of her.
We gotta
That's
go?
all. Yeah, we gotta go.
How
We
many
outta
seconds
here,
now?
man.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
love
right
y'all.
now.
We see y'all next week. Bye.
Peace.